sounds alright to me.
You gotta talk so it switches to you.
Noonie! Noonie, you gotta help me, Noonie! I'm stuck in the electrical zone! Ow!
Jimmy, how'd you end up in the electrical zone?
I don't want to talk about it. I made some mistakes, okay? But I'm stuck here now. I'm reverting to my quantum form. I need help.
Jimmy, no.
Bring me back. You said the wrong things right. Ah!
Alright, folks. As you can see, we're in a little bit of a different setup here. Yeah. That's because last live stream, I did not get all my homework done here. I need to carve more pumpkins, so...
How could you leave the task unfinished, Nina? For God's sake.
So we're going to be doing more of that. Don't mind me, I just gotta finish my sausage too. We came into this very unprepared.
He says he's gonna just hit record, and he's got a fucking sausage in one hand and a pumpkin in the other. There's knives lying about. What's gonna happen? It's gonna be a crazy episode, I assure you.
Yeah, this might be the most unhinged that we've started an episode.
I was in the quantum zone, in the electrical space. It was scary. Very scary.
Very, very scary.
What's going on with you? What's happening these days? What are you working on?
I'm working on this sausage real quick. Don't worry, once I swallow this, I'm done with it for the whole episode.
Swallow that sausage.
Call me in
the
middle of my dinner. Is that gonna
make it into the clips? That's gonna make it into the clips.
Probably.
Nudie just can't finish the sausage. You can't stuff down the sausage fast enough.
Knowing Ryan, it's probably in the clips.
Thanks. Shout out to Ryan for editing those clips. They're really funny.
Hell yeah, man.
You make us look, I wouldn't say good, but like easily digestible at the very least.
Sure. So yeah, recently I've been working on stuff for Hallows 2 mostly. Hence the pumpkins. You know, a little bit of a Halloween special we're working on.
Halloween?
Yeah.
That's what you are.
Completely hollow. So...
No wonder you're a YouTuber.
What have you been working on, Jimmy?
Nothing so far. We've been working on some Hallows 2 stuff together, so we did some character designs, we did some storyboarding, which, you know, I think the last time we storyboarded was for the New Year's special.
How's that been, getting back into it?
It's been nice. It's fun to think purely about composition. It's fun to work with you and to, like, see what's in your head and try and get that out. It is also very annoying to have to make the movie before you make the movie. I think we were talking about this when we were, like, working on it together. But that's, like, the thing about animation, is that you kind of have to have everything fucking planned out.
Yeah, you can't just show up on set and be like, yeah, you can't just viewpoint it.
We'll shoot coverage, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, we'll get multiple angles. Wasn't there a famous story? Wasn't it when the new studio execs at Disney came in and they were working on the Black Cauldron or something? They were working on some film, and the guys who came in, like, didn't know anything about animation. They're like, well, can't you just cut to, like, your wide shot? And it's like, what? Like, we didn't fucking film a wide shot. It's a goddamn cartoon. Like,
well, I do remember that they were like, oh yeah, so do all of this stuff and fully animate it, and then we'll just cut out what we don't need.
Yeah, yeah, that's brutal.
And they cut
Can you
out
fucking
so
imagine?
much.
They made that movie a mess. It's still cool. I still love the Black Cauldron, but I will never stop talking about how Disney fucked that up.
Yeah, it's cool, but in like a weird way. Whereas like it could have been good,
Yeah.
but now it's like it's got just a weird vibe to it. The full time you're watching it, you're like, how did this happen? By the way, if you want your the most important shot, there you go.
Oh yeah, the money shot. Get those guts. Get up in them guts.
I guess I need my other trash bag here.
I wanted to ask you a question about the live stream. How did you find that? Did you have fun doing it?
Yeah, no, I had a lot of fun with it. I think it was. I think the thing that's usually fun with live streams is if, you get some other friends in the call. That's why I've been doing it in that secret Discord server where we just have an open voice chat, and just anyone can drop in. I mean, not anyone, but anyone that I have on a list can just drop in during the stream, and that tends to make it a little bit more fun and a little bit lower pressure, because if you're like the only person in a live stream, you kind of feel like you have to be on the whole time, and you have to come up with bits the whole time, and if there's somebody to bounce off of, it's a bit easier to maintain that. But man, I was tired by the end of that.
Yeah, that seems like I tuned in. I wasn't in the voice chat, but I tuned in for a while, and I was in the chat with my partner, and it was a lot of fun. But I fell asleep like I think like 1/2 hour away from the end.
Yeah.
And I like checked it back out the next day, and yeah, you looked exhausted.
You
were
missed
delirious, probably. You ate the pumpkin.
Yeah, you missed the eating of the pumpkin and the pumpkin hat.
That's an annual tradition now.
I'm not making it an annual tradition.
I think it needs to be an annual tradition, and I think I don't want to do the thing where we like say we're gonna do a project and then we just run out of time or whatever. But like, I think I really want to edit.
When have we ever done that? When?
No,
what
never.
Are you
I
talking
mean,
about?
I just don't want to set a precedent for that kind of thing, you know. I just, but I do.
I can't think of a single time where we've said, where either of us have said that a project's coming out and it's not been on time, 100% completed.
100% complete. Yeah, on time.
That's just what we're known for, you know.
I mean, think about all the projects that we've done, like the summer extravaganzas. Well, like last year when we put out Hollows 2, Re-Input Entropy was there for like the how many year anniversary for Re-Input Entropy?
I don't remember.
I think, was it supposed to be the like 2-year anniversary, and it won't wound
Yeah,
up
I
coming
think
out
so.
a year later? Yeah.
Yep.
Fuck.
C'est la vie.
But yeah, no, I was thinking about putting together a highlight reel of the first pumpkin stream and also this last one.
That'd be really fun if you got around to doing
Releasing
that.
them as videos on the new channel. Though yeah, that one stream, the most recent pumpkin stream is on your channel. Your
Yeah, it is.
old channel. So if you're somehow subscribed to this channel and not the other one, go check that out.
That'd be pretty surprising.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
Network viewers.
So, what's it been like storyboarding again? How do those skills kind of come into play?
I don't know.
Have you done a lot of that outside of our projects?
Yeah, well,
Sort
I
of
mean,
like films?
in film school and stuff, I had to storyboard a few of my shorts. But then for my thesis film, I didn't storyboard any of it. It was mostly just like a shot list that, we kind of like brainstorm. I brainstormed it with my cinematographer, and she came up with a lot of great ideas, and we'd like do like initial sketches and stuff, of course, but like we didn't really go into the whole process of like beat for beat storyboarding it out. So yeah, it's been a while. I think working kind of collaboratively on collaboratively collaboratively on like Magma is a lot of fun. I think it's an interesting way of doing it, and I think it works pretty well. Um, that's I think in the interest of like sharing tips and stuff, Magma is a website where you can go on there and you can draw with like a room full of people, and they've got interesting brushes for free, and it's pretty basic. You have to like pay to unlock more stuff, but if you just want to like very quickly get into an online room with a bunch of people and draw, um, it's super fun. So I would highly recommend that. That's cool. Why are you groaning? What did you do?
I just dropped a big old piece of pumpkin guts on my leg.
Oh, gross! Ew, pumpkin gut.
Slimy.
Seems to be of the lasagna persuasion. I think like me, you, and Arnold are the only people that like appreciate Garfield's Halloween special references as much as this, you know?
I only watched it as of like last year.
Are you serious? You didn't grow up with that?
No.
Oh man, that's too bad.
It was not on my radar, honestly.
What about the Christmas one? Did you see that one?
No, not really. I think pretty much the only Garfield media that I watched growing up was the I forget what country is animated in, but it's the CG one, the CG animated show.
He goes to the Fountain of Youth, right?
Well, that's a movie. And this is a whole thing, and I don't think we've gotten into it on the podcast, but we can.
Explain this bit, because I don't even know where it comes from. I think it's before my time, and now I just like vaguely know that you tried to gaslight Arnold into believing that there was a Garfield Fountain of Youth movie.
No, I didn't. So I
You
grew
lied
up.
about it.
No, I I grew up. And I saw this movie. It was on TV, so I didn't really like remember like what it was named. But importantly, I remembered. Hey, there was Garfield. It was CG, and it was something about like finding the Fountain of Youth or something like that. Now, come to find out, the reason why it seemed like it didn't exist, because I was trying to look for a Garfield Fountain of Youth special, is it was not in fact the Fountain of Youth, it was the Funny Water. Very different.
Water.
But essentially it was supposed to be, it's basically the Fountain of Youth, but to make you funny again, because Garfield was worried that he wasn't funny anymore, so he had to go on this journey to find the funny water.
It sounds like it was actually a very profound metatextual analysis on the roots, the comic roots of Garfield himself, and perhaps the supposed imposter syndrome faced by Garfield creator Jim Davis.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you remember what this is called? Is it called Garfield and the Funny Water?
I don't think it was called Garfield and the Funny Water.
You can explain it all you want, man, but like it's never gonna sound any less fake. Like
it sounds completely made up.
I don't know if this is like a Mandela effect thing or what.
I thought it was because for the longest time I couldn't find it, and then just through like looking up like as many different like trailers and stuff, and like there's surprisingly a lot of Garfield media, so it was very difficult to track down But especially since I was looking for something about the Fountain of Youth, which it was not.
Yeah. So you went on this like journey to find this supposed fabled Garfield movie of legend that you're
Yeah.
not even sure exists. And
I mean,
everyone-
much like
everyone
Garfield
around you-
himself, you know.
Yeah. Exactly.
I had my own kind of
Parallel.
hero's journey.
It's like poetry. It rhymes.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, how was
What were we talking about?
what?
No, you go ahead. I forgot what we were talking about before the pony water.
Oh, I was gonna say, how was making that radio show short film?
Oh yeah.
That was
so,
pretty fun.
Well, thank you for bringing that up. Shameless plug. If you go to Channel 9 Productions right now, that's our friend Arnold's channel. It used to be mine before I abandoned him to join Noonie on their quest to find and produce quality content. Right.
This pumpkin is so wet.
Yeah, I'm really glad I fucking left Channel 9 Productions for this. Thanks, buddy. I technically speak, I didn't leave anything. We're still, it's all nebulous, whatever. But anyway, so me and Arnold, we made this short film. It's called Dead Air Radio, or maybe it's just called Dead Air. I forget. But it's the script that I came up with a long time ago about a radio DJ who's like doing this like weird little independent show. It's like a call-in show, and it's about like the paranormal. And so mostly he just gets like whack jobs on, and they talk about like, oh, I ran into Bigfoot, or oh, I was abducted, and probed in the butt, and stuff like that. You know, it's partially like giving people a platform to like, you know, tell their stories, and also kind of a subtle way to like just mock them. But it's low stakes because it's this like underground radio show. Anyway, this is like backstory lore that it's not really in the movie but you know, it's just a process.
It's implied.
It's implied. And the point is, so he gets a call during his radio show that's from it's from a guy who works at a satellite station where they're trying to like, you know, the SETI satellites. They're looking for like radio waves and alien voices and shit, and so yeah, he calls in and he has an encounter of some sorts, and it's all told through audio, and there are visuals obviously, but they're very much kind of unobtrusive. It's like very much an ambient film. There's not a lot of movement or action in it, but there is in the camera work, I think. It's like, you know, the best way I could explain it is a thing that probably no filmmaker should ever do, and just like talk about all the films that they ripped off to make this. And so, I mean, Arnold and I ripped off, I mean, mostly me when I wrote the script, I ripped off Signal Simulator, the video game, and Voices of the Void, both video games that I really enjoy watching people play. Arnold's a fan also. But it's that same premise of like being in a satellite observatory kind of station and listening for these frequencies and like sending messages to the cosmos, and this kind of weird existential fear of like, oh, what if I get a message back, or what if I detect something, and this weird like technical ambiguity, and like this fear of the unknown. But yeah, that's definitely something we tried to capture in this movie. And then visually, I mean, heavy film grain, low blue lighting. It's, you know, largely visually inspired by the fucking Quest for Quality Content podcast, I guess. But, you know, also by films like Skinamarink, which I have a troubled relationship with. It's a film from last year or this year, I forget, but it scared the shit out of me. It's on Shudder. Check it out. And also, since day one, I think every film I ever make now will in some way be influenced by Mandy, the Panos Cosmatos film. It's just one of my fucking favorite movies of all time. It's beautiful. I can never make anything that gorgeous, but I will perpetually try. So yeah, it was a really fun time. We shot this short film in like a day. We recorded it over Discord. We got our friend Seb to be in it. Um, yeah, and it's been fun. It was a fun little experiment. 8 minutes. Yeah.
Jimmy, I did not think this through. I can't touch anything now. I I can't stop the podcast at any point. I have nothing to wipe my hands on. It's so slimy.
God. Well, maybe you could have gone and got a fucking paper towel while I was rambling for like 20 minutes about that fucking movie. I think I rambled more about that movie incoherently, longer than the runtime of the film itself. Fuck.
Well, okay. No, this is probably good for my skin, you know? I'm gonna assume it is. Yeah, this, you know, some nice ASMR for the,
Oh yeah.
for the audience.
Get that real close to
you
the
know?
microphone. That's nice. Yeah.
So this episode is fun. Let's.
You're a fucking nightmare.
Let's get to the important part of this carving now. Is the actual, carving. And while
I would say the carving is the most important part of the pumpkin carving. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got you gotta get the thing open. You gotta scoop, and then you actually do the design. You know.
What's your design gonna be?
It'll be a surprise for the end of the podcast. It'll be a good button.
Oh, wonderful! Are you gonna do a callback to the first pumpkin stream where things got a little crazy?
I'm not gonna get any more messy than I already am.
What are you talking about? Come on, is it just me, maybe, or are things getting crazier out there? I think maybe you'd stick the blade in the pumpkin's mouth and say, well, "Let's put a smile on that face."
For context, in the first
in a public video.
in the first stream that I did carving pumpkins in November, I ended it by people requested that I do a Joker face on the pumpkin. And so
Ryan, can you edit in the pictures? I'll send you screenshots.
He doesn't edit the podcast.
Oh, he doesn't? Well, maybe
he just edits the shorts.
Oh, yeah, you're right. If this becomes a short, I think Joker maybe deserves to be a short.
Well, you gotta make the highlight at some point. But yeah, I think working on Hollows 2's been cool. Let's segue there. I've been doing a lot of kind of pre-production for that, a lot of asset gathering and whatnot. Doing some little clay models, which I'm not like very experienced at all in doing that. And luckily for this kind of style, I don't have to be good at it because it's pretty, stylized and simple. So I kind of tried to make up for the fact that the models themselves aren't super detailed by just having a lot of different types of models. So I did a ton of different kinds of gravestones, took pictures of those from a ton of different angles. I got Channel 9 to do some painting for the background and the moon and some clouds, using some scans from my flatbed scanner. Shout out to the magazine. I talk a little bit about using flatbed scanners for creative things on the Nunican Network magazine, which we finished recently.
Sign up to that email list. The first issue is out. It's really cool. It's very it's a fun read. There's some neat stuff in there. The page layouts all turned out really great.
Thank you.
It's all Nooning on that one.
And the comic.
The comic.
Is all Jimmy.
Yeah. Um, yeah, no, I really appreciate the fact that you are always so willing to share knowledge. And even if it's like, if it's public knowledge or whatever, it's like you're sharing part of your journey and also like giving that to the public as well so that they can perhaps follow or uh, get something new or try something new. So
Well,
that's cool.
thanks. That's
And
very
I think,
intentional. I'm trying to do it more and more, especially, you know, in the future, if we get a little bit more influence, it'll mean a bit more. But
yeah,
at least for now, it's nice just to share it with our community and stuff. And like, if I find a cool little effect or a website to find stock footage or whatever, or like learning materials and all that type of stuff, I
yeah,
try and put links to everything in the Discord too, for like stock assets, and I try and put our stock assets on there as well. So uh, there'll probably be some pumpkins in the Discord soon
hell yeah.
for for public use.
But that's the other fun thing I wanted to mention, which I always thought was kind of interesting about like your videos and your process is like it's very much a multimedia thing all the time, no matter what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
Like, even for like the backgrounds of the pod, I guess it's all digital technically, but it's like, you know, making things in Blender and then also adding video elements that were edited in After Effects and Procreate, and then adding lighting effects on top of that, and then like finding a way to streamline all of these things into OBS. It's like the creation and manipulation of these assets, I think, is just as interesting um, as if it was just like a raw physical work, right? Because as much as I think it would be cool if we made if we made all of Hollows 2 out of cardboard and clay and we did the full thing completely stop motion. Like that's fucking cool and shit, and would be very impressive. But I also think that like this weird kind of interesting way of like taking physical objects and then like photographing them in 2D and then like doing that from different angles, so that you can kind of get the essence of a 3D object and animate that in two-dimensional space. It's like it's trippy, it's far out, and it's like it's very interesting. I think I mean I'd want to hear it again, but I think it'd be cool to talk a bit about what you're actually doing with the pumpkins, what your process is with this.
Oh sure. Oh, that just got in my mouth. Okay. So
The
um
downfall of working with fucking physical material.
yeah. So basically, I came up with the genius idea of like, hey, I want to have the narrator for Hollows 2, which is basically me, because I do the them rap vocals as they're called. The pumpkin would be the narrator, don't you know? And we could do that, different drawing for each pumpkin. We could try and do it in stop motion and use a real pumpkin. And that was like part of like in my mind. I was like, it would be really cool to use a real pumpkin. But then I realized if I wanted to do it in stop motion and do all of the different mouth shapes, I need to buy like 100 pumpkins or something.
So many pumpkins.
And even then, like they would change in size. You can't get perfectly the same size pumpkins. So
It's like snowflakes.
yeah,
Every
exactly.
single one of them is different and special. Every gourd is a universe in and of itself.
So the idea that I had was the most like. um, have you ever wondered if you could, how you could go about carving a pumpkin in the realm of in the digital realm? Don't you know? In
All the computer chips and data bits and whatnot. Oh, Noonie, I'm getting sucked into the computer world again.
in the digital world, there's so many things to do, and now added to that is carving pumpkins. One of the things that I bet you weren't expecting, to add to the things that we don't do in real life.
Oh, dude, I just had a great idea. For the website, if you wanted to do like a mini game or like a flash game, Nooney's pumpkin carving.
I think we could actually set something like that up. Yeah.
Because it's just layers, right?
Yeah. I don't think that would be that hard, actually.
That'd
There
be
you
awesome.
go.
Yeah. But to get back to the process, so you carve. Oh, you have the pumpkin, right? And then you take pictures of it.
Yeah. You do that, and then you start with not carving the pumpkin. You don't carve the pumpkin.
Don't carve it.
Don't carve it. Don't do
point
anything
it.
with the pumpkin.
Don't point at it.
You just put the pumpkin in front of like a white background, and you take pictures from a ton of different angles. And what I also did, which is not really necessary, but I figured, hey, I do a lot of like after the fact lighting a lot of times in Photoshop, and it doesn't always look super realistic. So I was like, maybe for reference and for like some Photoshop gimmickry, I'll actually use a ring light, and I'll get pictures from different angles and different lighting conditions, which is way kind of over the top of what we really needed to do. But I wanted to do it, so I did. And then basically what I would do is, and if you're on the stream, you already know this, I would cut basically a big old window in the pumpkin, or in some cases I just cut it straight in half.
Nice.
And then you just take a ton of pictures of kind of the inside of the pumpkin from different angles. Same kind of deal. And then
Get up on them guts.
yeah, it's as simple as putting it into Photoshop, and it's a really weird experience because it feels like it does feel like I'm divorced from the physical realm. It's just like you're I don't know, it just feels really stupid to carve a pumpkin in Photoshop instant when I have real pumpkins that I could carve them in real life. But it has a very specific purpose for this animation, so it's worth it.
For sure. And yeah, I think it would be cool to do almost like a behind the scenes video that like shows the Photoshop and like shows the process of the animation too. I'm excited to see how it turns out, because just from like showing me the layers in Photoshop very quickly, like it's cool. Like it's cool. It looks good. Like the lighting effects that you can add in post also are really cool, and it's gonna give this really neat effect that I think is gonna like tie together the whole short or music video or whatever,
Yeah, no, I think it'll be interesting. I just hope I can get it done in time. But definitely with your help storyboarding and stuff, and you made the beat for it as well, and you helped kind of design the characters, so it's definitely not all me, which is definitely helpful. But yeah, it's still one of those things where you never know if it's going to get done on time until the last minute. But just have to keep diligently working on it.
Worst case Ontario, I'm not sure if we should talk about this on the pod or not.
Did you say worst case Ontario?
yeah, I did. What? You don't say that?
That sounds like a crime show.
Worst case. Oh yeah, that'd be awesome. Worst case Ontario. Sorry, I'm just gonna have to arrest you there because you murdered 16 people. Sorry.
It's like the Canadian CSI.
Yeah. Yeah. Someone was jaywalking, and then they threw their Timmy stuff on the ground, and that's about the worst crime we had here in probably about fucking 15 years.
I'm a little worried about this reveal at the end of the podcast.
Is it gonna be a penis? Is it gonna be you eating a sausage?
No. It's a very simple thing, and I think I still botched it. And unfortunately, this isn't Photoshop. So I cannot undo this.
You just gotta go with it.
But it's done, and I'll reveal it at the end. I don't know how long we've been recording.
It has been 34 minutes.
Cool. So we can keep going, and I'll
We can keep
point
going.
this away from the camera.
What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, worst case Ontario. I think we could definitely manage like the song itself being done, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think you know, at the very worst, if we can't get the short film, because like, listen, it's a music video in name. It's a music video in the same way that Thriller's a music video, only on a budget of $0.
Yeah.
So and it's animated and shit. So I mean, yes, ideally the deadline is October.
Well,
the video,
not the beginning of October.
No, but Halloween.
Yeah, Halloween.
Yeah.
So.
Halloween. Yeah. That's. I have to. I don't know if it's I don't know if it's appropriate to bring up on the podcast, but me and Channel 9 Productions' favorite thing to do is go to watch an old episode of like AVGN. But we watched it at like the lowest speed that YouTube allows, and we just laugh because James Rolfe kind of sounds drunk when he slowed down that slow, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
In particular, the Halloween episode, there's a part where he's reviewing Halloween on the Atari, and the instruction manual has the title printed twice on it. And hearing James Rolfe go, Halloween, Halloween is the funniest thing. It's pure unbridled autism. I expect nobody else to find that interesting or funny at all, but just for hours we will laugh anytime someone says Halloween.
Well, it used to be
followed up by that.
It used to be that on the lowest setting there was no audio. On the lowest speed setting. They must have changed that.
Yeah, because now at half speed or whatever, at like 2 times slower or whatever, it's you can still hear it.
Yeah.
For better or worse. I don't know why anyone needs to hear audio slowed down that slow, but hey.
It's good for your purposes.
Sure is.
Another thing we were thinking about, which I don't know how much to reveal and how much not to. I think this podcast is kind of like buyer beware. You know, like if you're hearing us talk about projects, it does not guarantee that those are actually going to happen. It just means that we're thinking about them at the time.
We need one of those like speedy voice disclaimers anytime we bring up a video, like.
But we had kind of an idea of doing a month that's called Bumper Month.
Oh yeah, Bumper Month. Hell yeah.
I figured a fun way and an easy way to like populate our bumper archive, because we kind of need a good amount before thinking about launching back up any sort of automated Nunican TV setup. You know, we need a good variety and a good amount of interstitial stuff. So if
Have we
just
talked about that on the pod before? The plan to do like a constantly running stream of automated content. Not that making it would be automated, but did we discuss that plan?
I don't know, actually. Probably not. I mean, we've talked about the 24-hour stream and how that failed. But I don't think we talked about the new developments of that. Because through making this podcast and streamlining this process in OBS and finding this like automatic scene switcher thing and looking more into different like plugins for OBS, I figured out how to do the thing that seems pretty simple, but like I couldn't find any other way of doing it, which is basically like nesting playlists in a way, or having more like advanced playlists that are like, okay, you're going to shuffle, but you're not just going to play random videos. You're going to play one of this type of video, one of this type of video, and then repeat that. it maybe sprinkle in some randomness in there. That's the ideal thing. Is like it would feel like you're watching uh, TV without ads.
Yeah, like a block of programming that has some
Exactly.
sort of randomization in there. But yeah, it's obviously all videos that we're gonna make. So
Right.
that's a
It's
really
not
exciting
AI. It's not
project.
AI stuff.
No,
It's
no, it's
all
not.
it's
Fuck
all
that.
manual. It's just the idea is you'd set it up so that um, you 100% can and we will if we do get the setup and it's like a legit thing. um, we'll have days where there's proper events and things are scheduled and almost none of it's random. But just to like keep the rest of it running in a way, it would just be um, kind of generating um, the order. It would just be it's like a shuffle playlist or
Yeah,
whatever.
which
If
is I
that
think
makes
it's a
sense.
really cool way of doing it because like sometimes it's like sometimes I have my like favorite YouTube videos that I'll go back and I'll watch like a lot of old internet historian stuff or a lot of like
Sure.
just video essays of or like but it's usually a variety of stuff or maybe I want to see a bunch of different videos from one channel but I don't necessarily have the means to just like let that shit play. And recently another thing that like I've been doing for a while now is watching on YouTube, and I don't want to blow it up too much because copyright or whatever. But like, there's a lot of YouTube compilations of like this programming block of Adult Swim from this year and
Yeah,
this
yeah.
with commercials included. And what I've kind of realized, or maybe am curious about with those videos in particular, is that I don't think it's just recorded off of the TV from one night.
No,
Like
it's not
I
usually.
think that research was done into it, or like a vibe was like sensed, um, but that specific block of programming with like a couple episodes of home movies and maybe an episode of Space Coast or like the Brack Show or whatever. That's all like edited together by someone, in intercut with commercials that are like period accurate from like 2003 or whatever. And there's like quite a few of these compilations now, and they're great to put on in the background. They're great to like fall asleep to because you can just like wake up halfway through in the middle of the night, and it's very nostalgic. You feel like you're back watching Adult Swim in that era. And not only is it like a cool nostalgia trip, but it's also just nice to get like a variety of stuff on YouTube if you're like, I don't know, like a broke person who doesn't, have much money and can't afford cable or
Right.
doesn't like feel because cable is like honestly it's not fucking worth
No.
it. Like
No.
it's not. It's not. But if you can get that shit for free with, maybe content that you are interested in, or especially content from like smaller creators that you might be interested in, and it's a very niche thing, like, um, basically, I think Noonie, you creating this like automated channel, if it benefits no one else, it will definitely benefit me, and I'll just have it on most of the time. Not because I'm a narcissist or anything, probably am, in some backward self-loathing way, but just just because it's cozy, just because I like what we make and I like hanging out and
Yeah.
uh, especially that pumpkin stream like that. Just watching that felt very cozy and very like oh, this is I'm happy that I can also enjoy the content that like I am sometimes involved in creating. That's always a good feeling. Like
Yeah.
you have to like what you're making, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm glad. I do want to do more stuff like that, more kind of live streams and things of that nature, little events and whatnot. I think finding some things that are like um, simple is just as important sometimes as the things that are like these massive, big, ambitious projects. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's nice just to hang out and do something just funny. So we're thinking about doing more kind of some improv based shows, some kind of
Yeah.
game show type deal. And I think those will kind of have a similar vibe to them, to where it's like not
Yeah,
super produced.
long form kind of like hangout content.
Yeah,
You know, it's just content you come to and you just hang out with us. If you can't do it live in person, then we're just gonna hang out. And then if you want to hang out and watch the video, then you can. But yeah, I think that should kind of that should be kind of integrated into the drawing shit. You know,
mm-hmm.
because I know we have the draw at 10 paces or at 3 paces. I forget how
We
many
haven't
paces.
decided yet.
It's a few paces though.
Possibly 10.
Possibly 10, possibly 3.
10 sounds
possibly
better, but 3 is more practical from a round standpoint.
Yeah, from a round. Yeah, if you're taking the title literally, then yeah, that would be. We it's an interesting idea that you had for a drawing theme kind of game show.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I won't talk about it too much because we haven't done much for it yet, besides brainstorming about it. But it's basically like one of those game shows from Dropout, like Make Some Noise or something, or Game Changer, except instead of improv prompts for them, like, acting something out, it's drawing prompts. So it's basically, it's funny too, because Drawfee was owned by College Humor, which turned into Dropout. So it's kind of like we're stealing from two of their things and just mashing them together. But I promise it's gonna be original, okay?
It's different.
It's
okay?
different.
Just because we're drawing on it and drinking coffee doesn't mean it's not the same thing. It's not.
And
not the same.
to be completely fair to ourselves, I don't think either of those shows are completely like islands unto themselves. Like they're definitely building off of stuff that's come before,
Sure. Yeah.
So.
I mean, the whole thing is like it's like an extension of fucking picture.
Yeah.
Right. Like
they're probably as original
okay.
as we're being.
That's totally okay because it's like I would watch like 10 different shows that were like blatant ripoffs of Drawfee people. I would just watch them because different artists do different things and come up with different prompts, and it's like, yeah, there's room for all of it. Everyone should be on that show. Or without doing blatant copyright infringement, I think. Maybe doing blatant. I'm not sure how I feel about copyright at this point in my life.
Yeah, copyright's a weird thing. I think
we should do no research and get like drunk one night and then do a whole episode on copyright law.
Just have no idea what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I have pretty mixed feelings about it. I think it can be a useful thing possibly as an artist to use what's around, but as far as like our rights for copyright law, but as a system, I think it does what most laws do in our society, which is if you have the money to back it up, then it's very useful. If you don't, then you're probably not going to want to pay for lawyers anyway. And if
Wait.
the ones that you can afford probably won't beat the ones that the big studios afford. So if they wanted to steal something from you, they could.
Are you saying that a law exists not necessarily to protect the well-being of all citizens, but more so to protect the interests of those who exist at the top of the corporate societal hierarchy? Because I don't believe that for a fucking second, pal.
I would never say something like that. I would never. Corporations good.
Give us money.
Corporations
Disney,
good.
buy us out. Do it. We promise. We're not troublemakers. We'll give in. The second you wave some green in front of our faces, all of our ideals, our wide-eyed leftist optimism will fade.
Clearly.
We'll kiss the boot. Well,
Well,
what do
what?
we have? 10 minutes left?
10 minutes left.
Is it time to showcase the your creation?
I wish I had my phone. I do have my phone. It's over here.
He's going to get the phone.
You got a
I'll
vamp.
keep us occupied. I'll
You got a
vamp.
vamp.
I want to suck your blood. I am a vampire. Now I'm an umpire.
Do your try and come
I
up
know.
with a backstory for a plot for a movie about a vampire that becomes an umpire.
Okay, yeah. So it's
Be your elevator
okay.
pitch.
So there's like a group of teenage boys in the 1950s. Okay, it's like, you know, Stand By Me kind of style. There's like, you know, old doo-wop music is on the radio, right? And so there's a bunch of these nerdy kids, and they're like at the baseball diamond. They're just trying to play a game of baseball. They're throwing the ball around. They're hitting it, and all of a sudden, these bullies, they come up on their bikes, and they're like, you know, all scary looking, and they say, "Hey, what are you kids doing here? Get out of here, dweebs! We're gonna rail on you!" And they're smoking cigarettes, and they're like, "We're looking to rumble. This diamond belongs to the 8th Street Bulldogs. That's our gang." And then, you know, and then they have like a fight or whatever. They have a tussle, and you know, the nerdy kids run away. So then they realize they can't play baseball there anymore, and they have to play baseball at night. So late at night, they grab flashlights and like, you know, they stick them in the dirt, and they like, you know, show them around, and then they have like a little night game of baseball. But as they're playing, you know, they hear a rustling in the woods, right? And you know, like a weird little chirping, and then something comes flying to the one of the kids, and he's got the bat, and he hits it, right? And he thinks it's a ball, but it's not a ball at all. And this thing lands to the ground, and they all go over to see it. It's a bat. It's a bat that they just wailed with a baseball bat.
Wait a second. There's potential here.
It's good. I'm a genius at screenwriting. I'm telling you.
Because it's a bat, and
the bat. The bat hit
There's
the bat.
link. There's a link to baseball.
It's like poetry. It rhymes. And so you know, the bat turns into a vampire, and the vampire's, you know, the friend, and they practice. He's good at baseball, and you know, he's gonna eat them. But they're like, no, you can't go around eating people. That's no good. You gotta learn our culture and the way we do things in our society. And it's about how like American ideals in the 1950s were actually good and should be pushed on everyone who's different from you. So that they conform to your society. And so then they're going to play a big baseball game against the bullies, because they have their own baseball team. And the game gets rescheduled to the daytime by accident, because it's supposed to be at night. And the vampire burns into ashes, and everyone is terrified. And then, you know, after the game, the bullies still beat the shit out of the nerdy kids, and it's a very sad ending.
Oh, I thought that was like the darkest moment, you know, Dark Knight of the Heart or whatever.
Yeah, no, but that's the end.
That's just the end.
The vampire burns up into ash.
No, they turn the ash. They put it in. They use like epoxy or something. They turn it into a bat.
Yeah, and then the magical bat helps them win the big game. Yeah, no, this is good. This is good. I feel like if we turned in that script in like 1989 to like some bullshit fucking like, oh, we're gonna make a family movie, you know?
Screw the podcast. Let's get some coke and work on this all night.
Yeah, let's do it. Yeah, we'll get 2 drafts done by fucking midnight. Let's go. I know a guy. I'll call him.
All right, are you ready for the final moments of the podcast here? You're gonna have to describe what you see for the listeners, because not everyone might be viewing.
Oh God.
I don't know if you'll be able to understand. just by looking at it because it's kind of a challenge.
So it's two flamingos craning their necks, and a half moon. No, it's a dead shrimp.
I'm gonna treat. I guess I'll treat this like a Pictionary here or something. You have to keep guessing.
It's
They are
two
glyphs.
Grim Reaper scythes, two Grim Reaper scythes, and the wick of a candle burning in the night. Am I close?
It's supposed to be cues.
Oh!
How do you do cues?
No, that's a cue.
Because you can't complete the circle without losing a chunk.
Honestly, I got it the second I saw it.
Okay, good.
I
figured you were doing a bit the whole time, but
yeah.
I was legitimately worried that it wasn't legible.
It comes across. It's great.
Well, what a way to end the podcast.
Fantastic. Very spooky episode of the QQC podcast. We talked about projects which we may or may not complete.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Procrastination.